But sometimes you'll encounter people who refuse to give you the respect you deserve. Maybe it's a boss who undervalues you, a partner who doesn't honor you, or friends who take you for granted. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond to it. The way you carry yourself, the standards you set, and the energy you allow in your life that's on you. You see, when someone disrespects you, it's not just about what they think of you. It's about what you think of yourself. The question is, how do you handle it? How do you respond when someone tries to tear you down? When they belittle you, dismiss you, or act like you don't matter, you don't get bitter, you get better. You don't fight for their respect, you stand firm in your own. Let me give you 5 ways to handle people who don't respect you. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most powerful things you can do to protect your peace, your time, and your self-respect. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are lines that define what is and isn't acceptable in your life. Without them, you invite chaos and disrespect. When you lack boundaries, you send a silent message that you'll tolerate being treated any kind of way, and trust me, some people will take full advantage of that. You must be willing to stand firm, not out of anger, but out of a deep understanding of your own worth. Some people will push you just to see how far they can go, how much you'll let slide, and how little they can get away with giving you in return. It could be your time, your energy, or your dignity. When you fail to set limits, you hand them the blueprint for disrespect. They'll keep overstepping until you make it known this is where it stops. Setting boundaries means knowing when to say no, and don't let that word scare you. No is not rude. No is not selfish. No is a full sentence, and you don't need to explain it to anyone. If someone calls you difficult or stubborn because you stand up for yourself, let them. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries, not question them. Those who get upset when you say no are often the ones who benefited from you saying yes for far too long. A lack of boundaries doesn't just hurt you, it teaches others that it's okay to disregard your needs, your voice, and your value. When you allow people to overstep, you are giving them permission to treat you however they please. But when you stand firm, you command respect. You don't have to yell, argue, or plead. Boundaries don't require noise, they require consistency. They require you to honor yourself enough to say, I will not accept this behavior, and I am willing to walk away if it continues. Boundaries apply to every area of your life. In relationships, they determine how much you give versus how much you receive. If someone constantly takes without giving back, you have to step up and say, this is not okay. In friendships, boundaries remind others that your time and energy are precious. You are not a doormat to be walked on, nor are you a 24-hour hotline for someone else's drama. In the workplace, boundaries ensure that you are respected for your talents and not taken for granted. People will take as much as you let them. It's up to you to decide when enough is enough. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you stop being kind. It means you stop being taken advantage of. You can love people and still say, this doesn't work for me. You can be generous and still have limits. You can be understanding and still say, I deserve better. Boundaries are not a punishment for others. They are an act of love for yourself. When you begin to set boundaries, some people won't like it. That's okay. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries are often the first to criticize when you put them in place. Let them. You're not setting boundaries to please them, you're setting them to protect yourself. Remember, boundaries are not about controlling other people's behavior, they are about controlling your access to it. You must be willing to lose people who refuse to respect your limits, and yes, that might feel uncomfortable, even scary, but what's scarier is losing yourself in the process of trying to please everyone else. When you set boundaries, you make room for the right people to enter your life, people who respect you, honor your time, and celebrate your worth. You make room for peace to replace chaos. Boundaries are not built overnight. They are built through small, consistent decisions to value yourself. It's in the little moments when you choose not to overextend yourself. It's when you decide not to answer that call because you know it's only going to drain you. It's when you walk away from conversations that demean you instead of uplifting you. Each time you honor your boundaries, you build a stronger sense of self-worth. You show yourself in the world that you will not settle for less than you deserve. Setting boundaries takes courage. It It's not easy to stand up and say, I will not allow this, but every time you do, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You take back